Hello, I'm Aaron and welcome back to the Laststandgamers channel. Today we're talking about Dual Universe, that claims to be a continuous single shared sandbox sci-fi MMO RPG, a ton of letters there, focusing on an emergent gameplay with player-driven economy, politics and trade. It sounds damn fantastic, doesn't it? It's developed by Novark out of Paris, France. Before we go any further, full disclosure about my relationship with the developers. It's as simple as they sent me a code and asked me to check it out. Now I'm aware that tons of other content creators have been sent codes, but they've been focusing on the building, on the constructing side of things and exploring the universe, and a lot of them really haven't checked out the gate. How are players going to actually get to play this? Now the most interesting thing about this title up here is Dual Universe Beta. You are paying a subscription service for a beta. I don't think I've ever seen a game that's made you pay a subscription service for a beta. I've seen people where you pledge for a beta, you get some shinies in helping them out in the testing, but subscribing to a beta, this sounds pretty weird. I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of tone here, maybe it makes sense to you, but subscription service for a beta, if you run into a problem a month down the line, you can't play the other 2 months and the rest of your cash is wasted, and there is no other option for a quick 1 month test period to even see if your PC specs will allow the game to run. Now play the Dual Universe beta from $6.49 a month. This is of course in pounds, but there is no month option. I can't just pay for a month, $6.49, and see if I like the game. I have to pay for a minimum of 3 months. And do I get any bells and whistles with them 3 months? No. And originally I kind of thought to myself, is this some way like you can back the game through beta and you give them a little bit of cash and you get some rewards in exchange like normal betas go? It's not the case either. So 6 months, $35.70, and you get half a month free, whoop-de-doo. And 12 months, you drop a large $64.90. That's pretty much the price of a whole game, and you get 2 months free. As you can tell, I've never been a fan of subscription models. Now, if we go down a little bit further, you can see their minimum and recommended PC settings, and these are not low-end PCs. Make sure before you drop the cash, your PC can run this thing. I guarantee you, otherwise you'll be crying. Why a subscription? This little section here is why they think they need a subscription service. We thought hard about the best business model for our game, due to the significant server cost when building a vast shared universe such as Dual Universe, and since we hope the game remains live for years to come, we must ensure a steady revenue stream. But we wanted this subscription model to be accessible to as many players as possible. This page combines the results of long-term thought process. We hope you understand this is the most balanced solution for an independent studio such as ours. Now, understanding this, for an independent studio, you need a constant revenue stream, and yes, this does secure it. And they aren't doing much different. In fact, they are actually offering it at a lower price than lots of other MMOs such as EVE Online and World of Warcraft. Their $6.49 a month is cheaper. We're looking at prices ranging from 10 to 15 in the industry at the moment for this, so it's nothing really different. It's just if this model suits this game. There's lots of questions I have about it, and you're going to want to think about them and maybe find some answers as well before you start. I've had a look for some, I found a few. So let's talk about my playthrough experience, and it happened exactly as I feared it would. I started off spawning in the tutorial area and they took me through the building holding my hand, and I was very impressed. I was like, I'm learning everything I need to know. I'm going to be able to survive and build and thrive in Dual Universe, and I was excited. I left the building and I headed down to the ship parking area. I saw hundreds of ships parked all over the place and I was like, wow, there's so many players, this is awesome. And the tutorial told me, hop on the ship, travel to the safe moon so I could start my first outpost and check out some of the tutorials. So I popped in some of the tutorials, I learned how to pilot a ship, I learned how to do very other construction tasks, and then I jumped on the shuttle hoping that a tutorial would meet me at the other end. I got off the shuttle and I was greeted with nothing. No way of really understanding how to start my Dual Universe. And the next hour to 2 hours, I completely messed up my Dual Universe experience. I headed out, tried to claim some land to trigger the tutorial. It didn't happen. I ended up respawning, thinking I needed to do something else to trigger the tutorial at the moon location. That didn't happen, and I ended up stranded miles away from my speeder and my base. with no real way of continuing. I thought of one or two ways of continuing, but it's going to be a lot of effort. I'm going to have to really do some research on YouTube, learn how to start construction, and instead of following their tutorial that I was hoping would guide me through the early steps, I'm going to have to join someone else on their tutorial experience. So you can see the problem here. If the beta does mess you up, then you could be in a situation where you're not going to be able to, or you're not going to want to, play the other maybe 2.5 months of the game that you played for, making it pretty much a waste of money. Now, what I do want to say is I don't think this game's a total waste, and I don't want you to get the opinion of that from this this sort of conference. What we're doing, we're having a blab, aren't we? We're having a mini rant. I think if they just changed a few things up, this is what I'd do: allow people to purchase it for a month, a week, or even a tiny free trial test so they can get their hands on it. Make the tutorial so it 100% works 100% of the time. Yes, I know it's beta, there's going to be some issues, but you don't put a subscription service on a beta if you know there's going to be issues. You kind of want that as much feedback as possible. Anyway, I'm going to jump in with some of the server moderators and admins and get their opinions. So I've popped on the Discord. I'm here with a few moderators and admins, and I just wanted to get their thoughts on the subscription system and Dual Universe in general, and just how to gain access to it. Is it something they would want to do? Apathy, take us away.
Alright, so I believe the cost is a bit higher in my perspective, because being Australian, the British pound, so it's $6.99 a month. So in my view, that's $14 a month, $15 thereabouts. It's a little bit high for something I can't test, and it's only multiplayer. I can't test it on my own PC and muck around and check it out.
Okay. So you're saying you'd like some sort of trial or demo, Casper?
I think it's completely okay if you're running a server-based, an MMO, to have a subscription-based fee, since you need money to run the service. But it's a bit much, as Apathy said, when you can't even try it out. So I'd like a trial as well.
So as I said before to you, what do you think, Casper? Because it's in beta. Have you ever seen a subscription in a beta?
No, that's the thing. I would love to pay, a certain amount of money to help them start up, like a Kickstarter or like Star Citizen, where you pay a good bunch of money to get a ship. But I don't want to pay for an unfinished game in that way, where I continually have to pay.
So what then? What if I said that it already had a Kickstarter where it had made just under €500,000, well, around €500,000?
I mean, if you was paying even if the £65 and you got the game, regardless of even if you put a prescription service on top of it, like some of the bigger games now, you buy a game, then you pay a prescription service for benefits, would be okay. But when you're actually just paying X amount a month for a game that you don't own, that you're never going to own, it just doesn't seem worth it.
So what you're saying, tell me if I'm wrong, is that there's nothing physical about it. There's no single player experience. There's nothing you can do with your base money. If once that runs out, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, if you sort of like have a bad month, like just through this last crisis where people were out of work, you lose. You can't afford to pay for that extra 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is. That's it. The game's gone. You've got no way of playing it. All that time that you put in, you can't go back to it and say, yeah. You don't know what's going to happen. There is no sort of like, yeah, this is my game, and like every other game you buy, it's yours. It's yours to own, even when there is prescription services involved.
Right. Over to you, Wiz.
Yeah, I like Apathy there. I'd like to see something of a trial there. You've got the monthly tier. They're saying it's £6.49, so that's £6.49 per month. But there's nothing to try that for just the month, and I'd like to be able to pay that, get a feel for the game, and also to find out if there are any problems, if there are any bugs, how they're going to deal with the bug reports. Is it going to get fixed within that time period? Is it going to be so long that your subscription expires and you never get a chance to see a properly working game? I don't know. But that's something that I would like to try.
One more thing then, back over to Apathy. You asked a really interesting question just before when we were chatting about characters and what happens after your subscription runs out. And you want throw that at them again, get the cogs ticking.
Sure. So my example is World of Warcraft, where if you stop paying your subscription, your characters do not get deleted. You, as far as I know, you still have them forever. So if you resubscribe, all your gear's there, your characters are there. You can go off and join your group again and keep playing. I'd like to know if that is in the deal with this particular game.
So in terms of that, would you mean just your character, or do you mean all the stuff you're built?
Character, built, everything that you own, you've created within this game. I'd expect it to be there in limbo or in a saved version somewhere that you can go back and use again.
All right. Okay. Well, that wraps up this sort of discussion between some of the moderators and admins on the server. There's a lot right and a lot wrong with this. There's these things that are drawing me in, and they've got the content creators there producing content, sucking their audiences into this game. But when you get there, you're kind of repelled at the same time by this subscription service, especially when it's a beta. If this was a full game, I would have less of a hesitation, but due to it being a beta and them wanting a subscription service, it's a little bit relying on what I'd say hopes and dreams and hype trains. Anyway, let's thank you guys for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. I really want to feel the wide array. Let me know if you've picked this up. Let me know if you've bought it, and let me know if you're thinking about buying it, and I will see you next time.